Hi, good evening, everybody. It's Thursday, it's 8 o'clock, and it's our regular get together here each Thursday, being streamed out across multiple platforms. So, thank you all for being here. I see you, Mr. Joe Cool, and all those others who will be joining us. And I actually should also say a thank you to those who watch it in replay. So, we have our usual sort of setup. So we have, I think we have with us in the studio here alongside me. I can see all of the gang. They're all in here. So can I suggest, just as a starter, hi Matt, all the way from New Zealand. Hi the way, John. I see you there. That you all just have a quick word with yourself as I get my dog. So you just talk to yourself, and I'll be back in a second. Hang on.
Oh, so
I like the way
it's a
you
dog
start.
show now.
That's a great way of starting, just by telling us all, look, you all need to have a word with yourselves. Yeah? You got that? You all need to have a good word with yourselves. There you go.
Well, we will. I will give myself a chastising later, I think, when I look in the mirror.
Well, yeah, I can't. I want to crack a joke, but I can't. It's 8 o'clock. I can't do it. Sorry, but it would have been hilarious. That's all you need to know.
Right. Okay. So David's obviously getting the dog. I don't know why the dog is important. Is it because tonight's show's going to be barking?
It's going to be. Listen, I'm back. So sorry about that.
Sorry, I forgot to bring Paddy in there. I do apologise, Paddy. Sorry.
Right, yeah, right.
That's it, man. Just leave me out. That's all right. I'm standing there talking to myself.
Far over the Atlantic. Why not?
So, okay. So I'm back here. Sorry about that little unanticipated thing, but just as an FYI, I'm babysitting a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So, yeah. So if I get
in the room there, then David.
Jed, if I can get through this without needing a drink, I'll be doing really well. But anyway, welcome everybody. So much to talk about. So we're not going to delay much more getting into all the issues. Now, as always, I put out a action-packed agenda. All the gang know what I'm going to talk about, except I'm going to throw some other stuff in as well, as I always do, because sometimes there's a lot of hi Dawn, I see you there. Is that Donny girl, by the way? I think it is, isn't it? It's it's not a 4 and 2-year-old dog, it's a 4 and 2-year-old child, John. Yes, so no, well, what I wanted to sort of start off by talking about is that one of the reasons we do this is to push back against the fake news that comes out from the mainstream media. And boy, oh boy, have we had some fake news this last number of days. So I do want to talk about that. I also wanted to, Jed, there were a number of clips here. Have they all gone? Where are the clips?
What do you mean clips?
So let me just show you clips, audio clips, video clips I wanted to play. They've all gone.
Well, perhaps not in the studio. What studio were they in, David?
They were in the studio.
What? New 2025 studio.
Oh, so they could be in the live studio, Jed.
Right. Okay. You stay where you are. I'll go.
Yeah.
To the live studio.
No, I tell you, I wanted to play, Jed, the best clip of them all, and we can do this.
Does it have a man in a white van?
You got it. I wanted to play this I'm sure Jed will be able to find it anyway. But folks, this to me was like one of those outstanding moments. And Jed will bring it up here.
Just bear with me, David. I'm looking through to see what studio you put them in.
I think it's in David Vance Live. If you check,
it's not.
Right. Well, then I would have no reason to put it in any other studio.
You go back about 15 years ago, and White Van Man was like public enemy number one in this country.
What I'll do is, have you got it on your X?
Yeah.
Right,
yep.
I'll call it up on X. Just
it's on my X. Sorry, Adrian, you were just saying there.
Yeah, about 10, 15 years ago, White Van Man was probably the most hated person in the country. Do you remember there was a whole thing about White Van Man?
Yeah.
Emily Thornberry.
This guy's a bloody hero. I hope there's I hope there's somebody out there buying that man a load of pints for what he done yesterday.
I hope they're buying him pints after he parks the van up. But do you remember when Emily Thornberry turned up to one of these constituencies and made some comments? I think it was about St George's Day flags and white van man.
That's right. She did. She sneered.
Yeah, Ed Miliband was the leader of the Labour Party. That was such a long time ago.
I know.
I am
so Jet, have you got the clip?
I've got I believe I've got the clip here. Yeah.
Okay, let's play the clip and entertain everybody. This is hopefully, play.
So get your silly little racist.
No, that's not it, Jet. That's
but
not
I love our country, and one of the things about our country is good manners.
No.
Nigel Farage, you are Nigel. We're going to get arrested. We've got English flags on here, Rachel. We're going to get arrested. You're ruining the country. Get Keir Starmer out. Look, England flags. You're useless. Labour Party's useless.
I love our country, and one of the things about our country is good manners. Not very British.
Cut. So there we go. Okay, initial. Who wants to go on this one first? Rachel Reeves.
Can Rachel Reeves provide us with a list of all the things that are and are not British? I mean, a white van man shouting Sir Keir Starmer's a blank, 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 and he needs to... I can't think of anything more British than that.
So, Rachel says one of the things about this country is that we have manners.
Right. Well, they didn't throw anything at her.
Does she want to explain that to the thousands of uninvited guests who are going around raping and sexually abusing all the girls in this country?
Yeah. 100%.
Well, they're not British.
But come on,
they're not British.
About that, Rachel.
Yeah, actually, there's another point. Back in 2021, Angela Rayner called, I think it was Boris Johnson, quote unquote, scum. And guess who defended him? Can we guess who defended? And saying, well, it's all part of the language of, everyday debate. Oh, it was Rachel Reeves. Oh my God, Rachel, the internet is forever. She said that back in 2021. So when they call conservatives or people right of centre scum, it's fine. But when that guy driving that van, fruity language, but he spoke the truth. He spoke for millions, I would suggest, Jed.
No, I think he did. He definitely spoke for me. I've certainly spoke for, and I will speak for the other panelists. I'm sure he spoke for them and everybody else that's listening. I think her comeback was actually very weak. She would have been better saying nothing and just letting him say what he had to say and drive on. But to come out with I hate how she talked. And hate is a strong word, but I literally do hate how she talks.
Jed, do you not think she was very bloody wooden, very monotone in her reply?
Yeah, well, this is it. She
wasn't animated at all.
Yeah.
If it had been me, I'd have been screaming, get out of that van and come and say it to my face. That kind of thing.
Or make a joke out of it. Don't you think that would be the great sort of political?
Yeah, but she doesn't have the. She lives in a Westminster bubble, Antonio. She's in a bubble where people bow and scrape to her because she's the Chancellor, the second highest office in the land.
One of her advisors said, "Do you know it'd be a really good idea if we took you to a garage anywhere in the country where lots of working class men are going to be filling up their vans? That'd be a great PR move." And she went, yeah, right, let's do it.
Yeah, I know. But actually, that's the point. That's exactly the point, Antonio. Because the reason she was in the garage forecourt is she was announcing the fact that the government's not going to put up fuel duty I think they're delaying it by about 4 months, and then they will be putting it up. And as you say, nobody had thought in her office to say, Rachel, if you go near like working class men and women, you're probably not going to get a great response. Nobody thought to say that, and that's what it was.
Do you remember the? Sorry, David, I'm talking over you. Carry on. No.
So yeah, it just Northern Monkey says probably Keir sorted the itinerary for that one.
I was about to say, did you notice it was a Morrison's garage and not like BP, British Petroleum, or anything like that? She went to somewhere where it was going to be slightly cheaper and where you expect people to be filling up.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
She using a government card to pay for it.
Do you remember where that one time that Gordon Brown met a member of the public? Do you remember?
That racist old woman.
I think her name was Mrs.
Bigoted old
Duffy or
woman.
something.
Yeah.
And basically, she sort of spoke for the nation. She just sat there saying, there's too many people here. There's problems here, there, and everywhere. He nodded his head and then got into the back of a car, limousine, whatever it was, and said, oh, she was just a bigoted old woman. That is exactly what he said. And that's what they actually think of us.
Yeah, that's right. That's an insight. I mean, that's why. Although it's funny, you know. The guy spoke so much truth in those few seconds, and it was the fact as well that he had obviously this is an audio podcast, but he did have on his van an English flag on either side, and he pointed to those English flags. And to me, that doing that in front of a Labour politician, it's like throwing holy water in the face of a vampire. Because they hate that. They hate those expressions, particularly, Jed, of like Englishness is something that I think Labour hate. They hate the English. And so, St. George's flag obviously irritates them. And a working class man, giving her his mind's worth, all she could say is, well, and as you say, you're right, Jed, I hate the way she talks. She's got an awful lot. Apart from Starmer, he's got the most hateful, I think anyway, way of speaking. But she's really
She's a very good friend of mine.
I think she's actually worse.
Let me be absolutely clear.
I just think she's absolutely appalling the way she speaks. There was nothing about her, and she's so empty inside. She couldn't think of any retort back to the guy other than what she said, which was absolutely pathetic. It would have, like I said, it would have been better if she just shut up. But the Labour Party actually, in fact, most politicians now hate the British people, because if they didn't hate the British people and they liked the British people, they wouldn't be doing what they were doing, i.e. filling our country full of people.
Well, actually, Jed, that's a good segue. Let me seize on that, because again, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is there's been two bits of outrageous spin put out by the Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary. One was congratulating herself on the fact that there are about 10,000 people fewer in so-called asylum hotels, right? And this is apparently a great victory. And she leaves out the unspoken bit, which we're going to talk about. And then the second thing is she also congratulated herself on the fact that net immigration is down to only 120,000, I think, something like that. And this is fantastic as well. And with the best will in the world, this is monumental bollocks being spoken today. And I have put stuff out about it. And, as everyone, let's start with the asylum hotels. So instead of 30,000 being in asylum hotels, there's 20,000 or just under. And those 10,000 they've not vanished into the ether. They've gone into houses of multiple occupancy. So if you like, the cancer has been spread right across the piece. And she's saying, what a good job we're doing. And they will close all the asylum hotels because they don't like the fact that it's a magnet for protests. But if you stick them in 20 or 30 HMOs, then you've still got the same unvetted, unknown young men of military age living in your area. So, Grantoni, I'll come to you in this one. Like, it's worse. Closing the asylum hotels is worse. But and yet that's what she's boasting about it. So it's a victory.
You use cancer as a metaphor. It is absolutely true. It has gotten worse because before, I didn't like it before, but it was localized. It was contained at least. You had a rough idea of where these people are. Now the cancer is metastasizing, if I've said that word correctly.
Well, you gotta spread it out, man. That's they do it everywhere. They what do you call it? Biden was flying people in directly into red cities. You got to spread the manure around, man. It's the only way things grow.
Well, that's a good. That's good. So we've got a cancer analogy, and we've got a manure analogy, and we're only 15 minutes in. This is good. This is
Can
what
we
we
not
need.
just put them all in Brighton, or like like
Yeah.
what in what Paddy in the United States would call blue states? Can we not put them in Labour, hard Labour heartlands, or well, yeah, Brighton?
Well, I have to say, Northern Monkey has corrected you on that one. He's saying, no, I think you'll find they've all graduated and are now carrying out open heart surgeries and building rockets. Yeah, all these engineers, they've come in and they're really helping the country. Adrian, here in Northern Ireland, I know of 2 of these asylum hotels that have been closed. But I also know that, just as we're saying, the migrants, these illegal invaders, have been then spread across, in one case Bangor, in another case I think it's Antrim. But anyway, what's your take on this triumph from Shabana Mahmood today? They've reduced the numbers in hotels.
I think Diane Abbott must be doing her mathematics, because there's no way they have reduced it by 120,000. That will be just a number that they have fudged in some shape or form.
No, that's the net migration number. We're going to come on to that. No, on those illegals in hotels, the numbers dropped from 30,000 to 20,000, and this is apparently really good. And I'm talking about, but you've stuck them in HMOs, in houses, in people's streets, Adrian, people's, housing estates, wherever you live.
Yeah, sorry, but the net migration numbers I still wouldn't believe it, because they've come from the government. So that's the point. Sorry, I was making with that they'll just fudge those numbers to make you think that they're doing a great job.
Oh yeah.
Look, since I opened a new X account last week, my feed is just full of these people being apprehended for trying to meet 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds and all sorts. Yeah. And it's even worse now that they're in these houses of multiple occupancies, because they're in the middle. They're in the middle of housing areas where young families are, where young children are. You know what I mean? Kids will be out playing on the street and be approached by these people. You know, it's absolutely shocking, like, that the government is willing to put so many young children at risk, considering there was a whole uproar over the whole grooming gang scandal that these men were, that a large demographic were involved in. They don't seem to have learned from this, or maybe they just genuinely don't care, because this is going to continue and continue. Some of these guys are only here 2 weeks. One of the videos I seen, the guy had an ankle monitor on him because he was on release out of prison. So like these HMOs are only going to make the problem worse. And I think because they're not all concentrated in a big hotel that can be easily protected, I think we'll start to see a lot of vigilante justice taking place.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. In a local town beside me, and I just saw this today, a place called Lurgan, I saw a house has gone on the market. It has potential for an HMO for 10 people, for 10 people to be in this house, and the permission had been given despite local objections. Namely, people in Lurgan aren't stupid. They know exactly who's going into these places, Jed. And they're saying, well, no, we're objecting to this. And then at the end of the day,
even the dog agrees.
Lily the dog agrees. Well, she always agrees with me. She has to, or she doesn't get fed. But it is kind of quite shocking, I think, that, Adrian, they are risking young kids and women and girls.
Hang on. Sorry, Adrian. Go on. Adrian, say what you've got to say.
No, go ahead, Gran Torino.
Well, I'm just thinking here. If one of the arguments that they put forward, and you hear this all the time, is we're not bothered by legal immigration, we're bothered by illegal immigration, which just means that they can just ramp up the numbers of people coming here legally. And I'm just wondering, do you think they could be doing this, playing the same game here? Just letting them out, spreading them around a little bit, so that people can say, oh, it was so much better when they were all in hotels. And we're thinking, well, no, we didn't like that in the first place. And here's one for you, just a thought, guys. When the dinghies come over, and this is a serious question, I'm not being rhetorical, it's a serious question. Do you think we should use force to repel them? And I mean, if one person was invading another person's country, they would get shot.
I was just going to say, send in the A-10s.
Yeah, I mean, well, but you guys have got 700 million guns, so you would know.
Actually, and on that note, Grantonio wins the prize. Very good. I think that's one of your
Slipped it
first.
right in on us.
Yeah.
No, but like what we're doing to the fast boats, they're about the size of rafts. Doing the fast boats in the Strait of Hormuz, send in the A-10s, man, and just.
Yeah,
but seriously, they are coming over in their boats.
Yeah,
they're not supposed to be coming over. Shouldn't we be protecting? I mean, I'm hearing too many stories of women in Staffordshire or bin men being stabbed by illegal migrants. Yeah. Surely the safe thing to do is to repel them by force, significant force. And if we started using guns in a very short period of time, started using bullets in a very short period of time, they would stop coming over. I've got to think about protecting. Go on, Adrian.
We can't, Grantonio. Our one and only boat is somewhere in the Mediterranean, broken down.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, HMS Dragon is in for repairs in I think it's Crete because the toilets don't work.
I was just gonna say it's not even doing it. It's broken down.
It's the toilets broke, Paddy. That's what happened. So it's the ultimate humiliation. But actually, there's a serious point there, Grantonio, and I believe that we should forcefully rebuff illegal invasion, but we can't because we're straitjacketed by the AHCR, and so
you're if you want to enforce your borders, you're a racist pig. You can't be how dare you? You're a racist old white man. It's like, God forbid.
Keir Starmer is so big on NATO protecting Ukraine and all that. We're a NATO country under attack, being aided and abetted by France. Why is nobody declaring war on France?
Oh, well, I think we should 100% do. Yeah.
And another thing. Sorry, I'm talking over you, David. You make your point. Sorry.
No, I consider France a hostile country, and I consider the English Channel a national emergency, and therefore all bets. If we had a proper government then, which we don't, then we would do pretty much what you're saying, Grantonio and Paddy. You would probably do that because you would stop the boats like instantly.
In a very short period of time, it would stop. But the other thing is, all the women and children who die in these boats. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but that blood is on the hands of people who encourage them to come over here.
Wait, I got a question. I got a question. You got films of women and children in these boats?
All right.
No, it's only the women and children that die.
Oh, there you go. That's why there's none here, because they all got killed on the way over. Okay.
Well, but it's on that blood is on the hands of the people who encourage them to come over.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Jed, what's your take on what Grantonio suggested? Forcefully repel them. Use force, lethal force if necessary.
I think we should. I think we should have been doing that from the beginning. But all France is doing is offloading its problem to us. And they're doing that out of spite because we left the EU. The EU is doing it out of spite. And no matter how much money we pay them, they're still going to send them. Why? Because it alleviates the problem from their shores. But we should put up a British armada, maybe. Oh no, we've only got one ship, and it's
HMS Dragon. So we have.
But the point, look, what we could do is we could commandeer all the little vessels like we did on D-Day, and all those little vessels go out and collect them and take them ashore, but onto the French shore, not to the English shore. I just think we just need to stop paying the France money and just say, look, you either take them back or we declare war. But you see, we need an armed force for that. We don't have one of them, do we? No. See where the problem lies here over the last 20, 30 years of bringing everything down and slowly diminishing us as a nation deliberately for this purpose. So we can be invaded without any defense. And that is the problem. They don't care because the rich and the powerful will not have to live here when here becomes a third world.
Yeah.
But when we're a third world country, they'll piss off somewhere else. Yeah, they'll finish their political careers and they'll bugger off to a nice island somewhere or a nice country somewhere that doesn't have this problem that they've caused here.
David, what about our Irish George Floyd?
Or Irish George Floyd?
Yep. The Congolese boy in Dublin that died after he was shoplifting.
Yeah, he picked a really good shop to shoplift from, though. Did you see the shop he was stealing from? Best shop in Arnott's, the best shop in Dublin. Like the most upmarket shop you can go. It's equivalent of stealing from, I don't know, Harrods or somewhere like that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I just saw the headline for that, Adrian. I'm not laughing at that story, and I know none of you guys are laughing either. I mean, I just think I see people on X, and they show footage of people going into Greg's and just taking whatever they want, and everyone on X says, "There he is, just stood there, not doing. Look at that security guard, stood there, not doing anything." I get that, but at the same time, I want to say, listen, it's not worth getting stabbed over a sausage roll, because the people who own Greg's wouldn't risk their own lives. And these guys that have restrained this, was he Congolese man?
Congolese, yeah.
They're now going to have to live with the fact that for the rest of their lives, they're going to be accused of murdering someone. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I can't comment.
They're going to be prosecuted more than likely.
It's really, really grim. But can I just make a sort of similar point? I just wanted to Adrian's raised the Congolese thing. I wanted to chat to you very briefly. There's a film coming out in Scotland. It's called Everybody to Kenmure Street. I'm reading it now. Do you know what Kenmure Street is within the context of migration, illegal immigration in Glasgow? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No,
I don't. Okay, so Kenmure Street is the road where I understand these two illegal immigrants, and they'd lived there for quite a long time. I think they were Sikhs, and the UK Home Office immigration people came to take them away. Now, David, you'll remember this. Do you remember when the whole of the street came out in support of these illegal immigrants?
I do.
Yeah, you do remember.
Yeah. And
basically, the police were stopped from doing their job and had to go back. And I understand that Cranky at the time came out in support of the people who were, pelting abuse at the immigration officers that were doing their job. Now, I understand that Kenmure Street is also the same street. I think I've got this right. Maybe you can Google this, David. I believe it's also the same street that Chris Donald was kidnapped on.
Yeah.
Go on.
So,
I wanted to ask a question. Now, you said these illegals were Sikhs. Now, like I said, I'm against all illegals. They should be deported. Mm-hmm. I don't care whether they're functional or not. Mm-hmm. But one of the Sikhs that have migrated to the United States are some very hard workers. Were these contributing members of society, though, even though they were illegal?
I don't know, and I don't care.
I can respect that. I can respect that because I don't care if you've been in here for 20 years legally. You should still go.
I'll just finish my point, and then you can come in. Adrian, just let me finish my point. I'm very sorry. I'll be very quick. But basically, I understand it's exactly the same street that Chris Donald was abducted on. Yeah. I could be wrong about the detail there. But the point is, what is the biggest story in Glasgow? Two people who are here illegally, who were attempted to be taken back, but they had that also, or a young 15-year-old brutally murdered by a foreign culture. Go on, David.
They absolutely memory hold Chris Donald, who, as you said, was abducted, tortured.
If I went to the Glasgow Film Fund or the Scottish Film Fund and said, you know what, I want funding to make a documentary about Chris Donald.
Yeah.
I think we know what the answer would be.
Yeah, the second word would be off, wouldn't it? Yeah.
When you're talking about Sikhs, are they the kind of Sikhs that would carry like 2-foot knives and go around stabbing young white boys and then be accused them of racially abusing them?
Are
those the kind of Sikhs?
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's media silence on that whole story.
Yeah, this is
Harry Nowak.
It's awful that it's the Americans have woken up to that story. Actually, Paddy, your side of the pond, and I see a lot of American. I see Elon Musk, most notably, has picked up on it, and the fact that Adrian, just summarize the story very briefly, and then just put it
with a young 18-year-old who was attacked by a Sikh man who was carrying what they claim as part of their cultural heritage, carrying a ceremonial knife, which is nearly 2 foot in length. The young lad was stabbed several times. As he was lying dying, the Sikh claimed that he was racially abused by this man, and the police handcuffed the young lad who was bleeding to death. He told them he had been stabbed, and the police didn't believe him.
And
I know
and effectively killed him.
That story has just basically, caught fire on the American webs and stuff. Like I said, I saw it for the first time myself today.
Yeah, it's horrific, Paddy.
I mean, just very quickly back to what I was talking about, which is it's kind of exactly what Adrian's saying. The fact that a film has come out about these two young lads, and it's called, what did I say the title was? Something to Kenmure Street. It's exactly the same road that Chris Donald was abducted on. It feels to me like they're laughing at us.
Yeah, well, I think they often do. Actually, I want to, Chad, I know you've been very quiet there in the background, and I'll let you go first in this one.
No, he's gone to the toilet, David.
Oh, has he?
I do feel that you need to know this. I'm your official news source on this. I believe a notification was posted at 20:31, and I'm just really glad that you let us know.
This is how we keep it real here. But I wanted
well, that's because he's full of it.
Paddy. So I wanted to double back on the immigration figures that also have come out today, because that's really annoyed me. So they're making a song and a dance about the fact that I think we've got net migration number of 171,000, and it's a huge victory. And it's not, because, Adrian, here's the facts in this one. 813,000 people came here in 2025. 813,000 came here. 645,000 people left here. So when you take 645 from 813, you get 171. So in other words, it's a brain drain. We're losing with wealthy people, entrepreneurs. I believe young aspirational people are getting the hell out of this country. Sorry,
I was going to say there shouldn't be a brain drain, because we're getting all these brain surgeons coming in.
We've got the engineers coming.
Yeah, there's no more excuses for the NHS being under pressure with all these experts coming in.
Well, the thing is, Adrian, though, that they're talking about net migration, which means damn all. What you have to look at is what's the inflow in and what's the inflow out. And we're at the point now where there's almost as many people leaving this country as coming here. So, I mean, actually, if it was the same number, government would turn around and say, hooray, we've got it to zero. But actually, we're losing vast numbers of people. 645,000 people, half of whom were British.
But so, David,
Paddy,
you're not losing anybody. You're being replaced, because you're being replaced with a group of people that they don't care that the people are leaving like hell. It's like California and New York. They don't care that anybody that has their crap together is leaving, because they're bringing in twice as many who they can control.
Yeah, I see a comment here. Daniel says, aka John, people like Paul Thorpe are being hounded out. Now, I know Paul Thorpe. I'm not aware. I mean, I'm try to cover as much things as I can, but I'm not aware of that one. Let me know what the Paul Thorpe angle in that is. I don't know it. But anyway, so Adrian, that's the truth of the matter, that the government is celebrating the mass exodus of some of our best people, even as we import a large number of people. I think of that 830,000, over half of them are from outside the EU, which I think we know where that means, Yeah. So,
the government doesn't want smart, intelligent people in here who can see and understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Look at Rachel Reeves yesterday. She didn't have the wit to have a smart comeback.
No.
You know what I mean? This is the mentality that we're dealing with. A lot of our young people are buggering off to Australia and Dubai and places like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. They're seeing a better quality of life out there than they are here, which is so sad.
Adrian, David, aren't they playing the same statistics game with the rate of inflation at the moment? Apparently inflation's gone down, but ultimately it's the rate of inflation. So the fact it's gone down a bit it's still pretty horrendous.
ONS figures, you can't trust ONS. Antonio, you cannot trust ONS figures. The ONS is severely compromised by government. And Antonio, just to jump back to Adrian for a second, there's claiming that the inflation's gone down to 2.8%, right? So I filled up my oil tank there about a week or two ago, and I paid 100% more than I paid the last time I filled it up. So that's 100% inflation when it comes to oil, which is a fundamental for heating our properties here in Northern Ireland. You know what I mean? So I don't believe any of their pathetic ONS sanitized figures. Does anyone think that the inflation rate's 2.8, which is almost close?
The language of inflation is based on the lie, because when they say inflation's gone down, it's like they cut jobs or they cut the budget. No, they cut the growth. Inflation's growth has gone down. It's still going up, but instead of going up at 5 points, it's only going up at 2 points now. That's what they're saying. It hasn't gone down a single number because, like you said, your fuel bills show it.
David, if inflation was going down, they wouldn't have to raise the national minimum wage every year. It increases to keep up with the cost of living. And because the cost of living is increasing, that means inflation's increasing. You know, the only zero the government's interested in is net zero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, which actually, Jed must let me know when he's returned into the land of the podcast.
I did, David. I said I'm back.
Oh, there, Jed. See, I never read the private chat, so that's difficult. I have trouble just keeping into this stream here without having to jump in and out of it. Plus, I'm always scared if I do that. We would have a repeat of last week where we had the. Can you hear me? I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm not hearing anyone. See how smooth it is this week, by the way. Isn't it fantastic? It's all good.
Now it's all going to go in the toilet. Thanks.
No, that's all good.
Put the jinx on it, the evil eye.
Well, talking of going in the toilet then, right? I want to talk about Makerfield, the by-election that's happening.
That is quite a segue. Top marks for that. So well done.
See, well, I mean, we've got a plumber standing for starters for reform, and he seems to be a decent chap. And I saw him and Nigel Farage out campaigning. It looked good, looked fun. We've got Andy, the King of the North, Burnham, who doesn't look very happy when he's being questioned. Have you noticed that? He gets quite shirty when a journalist started to ask questions of him. And then we've now got Restore. I see Rupert Lowe and his candidate were in Makerfield today as well. So it's all, I don't know what you guys think about it. You know, Rupert Lowe said it's the most consequential. I don't know. No, it was Nigel said that actually. Nigel Farage said he felt this is the most consequential by-election in 100 years. I'm not sure about that, but it's still very important because if Labour win, the bookies then make them favourites to win the next by-election or next general election on the basis that Burnham becomes Prime Minister. If Labour lose, it's just catastrophe, and I'd love to see it. And to me, and I'd open it up to the floor, I think Reform are the only people that can win it. I see an awful lot of stuff online from Restore, and it's not that they've got a nice candidate. She seems a very nice lady, but you know, just realistically, I just don't see them winning it. And we'll talk about this, Paddy, when we come to the States and Thomas Massey. I think that there's a world of difference between, and Jed, you often talking about this, you know, the online world, you know, the interwebs, the X's, the social media world, and the real world, I think. And I think Restore might find that out on the 18th of June or whenever this election is going to be called. So what do you guys think of what's happening in Makerfield this past few days?
I do think, again, we're on the right, we're fielding too many people. We're not coalescing against, one candidate. Where I think on the left, they do that very well. They do find, because what they're trying to do is keep Farage out. What Rupert Law and Conservatives, they want to beat Farage. And all I can see happening here is the right side of the politics being split between the two parties, the three right-wing parties, and Burnham getting in. because all the left-wing type votes, all the Greens, etc., will all coalesce around Burnham. Why? To beat Farage. But it's not. It's not just them coalescing to beat Farage. It's actually the other two right-wing parties jumping in to beat Farage. If you see what I mean, we can't just see the bigger picture on the right, and it really winds me up.
But although, Jed, some people would say we live in a democracy, and if parties want to stand, they've got the absolute right to stand. And you shouldn't be saying, oh, no, you mustn't stand in this, that, or the other constituency. Grantonia, where do you stand in that argument? Because it's like, to me, it's a nuanced argument, but what's your take?
No, with the argument that you've just made, though I know, David, it's not the argument that you advocate for. I know it's not the argument that Jed advocates for.
No.
Restore have every right to run. They can't be doing this. Let's stand a candidate down here. Let's do this person here. They just can't do that. They have to stand this person, I'm afraid. And I think it's good for democracy when you've got more choice. By the way, I would say that the left are split themselves. Jed makes this point that they're very good at coalescing. He might be right, but I mean, look. I don't know what you guys think of Andy Burnham. He might be the nicest guy on the planet, but he does mind nutting. I can't abide. There's certain politicians, and he's one of them. He's like, yeah, we're leveling up the North. Yeah, I'm the king of the North. Yeah, I understand your frustrations. If I see another interview with him, yeah, I understand your frustration. I'm leveling up the North. I'm the king of the North. Do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Tony Blair in a way. And in that, and I'm using my words carefully, he is very skilled at coming across as... He's relative to Starmer, he is likable. Does that make sense? And he plays this man of the people game very, very well. Yeah. I understand your frustrations. I'm leveling up the North. I'm leveling up the North. He doesn't know where Makersfield is. I think he took his daughter to a swing in the park 20 odd years ago. I don't know. But the thing is, right?
Yeah.
So what if he wins? And I really mean this. So what if he wins? That leveling up the North, I understand your frustrations, is not going to wash come the next general election. It's musical chairs for idiots who's going to be the next leader of the Labour Party. So it really doesn't matter if he wins.
Well, I don't know that I completely agree. If he wins, he will replace Starmer.
Sure. So what?
If he replaces
it's not going to wash. Go on, David. Go on.
Hang on. If he replaces Starmer, the Labour Party will then gravitate further to the left. If they gravitate further to the left, the money markets, which are already, the gilts are already in a panic, are going to be basically going WTF, and you're going to see bond rates soar. That's going to impact everybody's daily life. But in a way, then it's maybe good because people will see just how awful Labour is, and then they'll be utterly destroyed. So, Grantonia, you can argue it both ways.
But the other way is, let's look at the other side. It sort of nips at the heels of reform. If this is a blow for reform, Gorton, I don't think anybody was really too surprised that the Greens did all that well in that part of the world. But if this particular one is a blow to reform, it means they lurch far more in the direction that we want them to. Right. That will be very interesting. They're either going to make a pact with the Conservatives, which we will not like, I think, or they're going to make a pact with Restore, which doesn't look very realistic at this moment. Right. But a week is a long time in politics.
I want to come to Adrian, but first, Adrian, just read out a couple of comments. Daniel says, Andy Burnham is Captain Scarlet eyebrows. He really does. If you go back and look at old pictures of Captain Scarlet from the 1960s, he's a dead ringer for Andy Burnham. And then I see Northern Monkey says, David, we've discussed this before. Nationalise the bond markets. Yeah, well, that's pretty much where Andy Burnham and Res Trading are. Adrian, what's your take on the whole sort of restore, reform fight in Makerfield versus Andy Burnham?
I would be firmly in the Restore camp, and I believe Restore need to stand, because that's the only way they're going to get a chance to grow as a party. I appreciate what you're saying. It might split the vote from the right. But again, they're the ones that are putting out the more sensible solutions in my mind. And don't forget, it was Farage who told his party not to stand to give the Conservatives a chance to win. And look where that got us. Bloody nowhere. So I think Restore do need to stand. If they do take votes off, they do take votes off. But it's the only way they're going to get a chance to grow and be seen as a serious party going forward.
Yeah, and Adrian, it's going to disappoint a lot of people if Rupert Lowe decides to stand his candidate down. He just can't do it. But the other thing is, can I just make the point very quickly? Sorry, just get this in very quickly. When if Burnham does become the leader of the Labour Party and thus the Prime Minister, how long? All we need to do the moment he gives this sort of I'm levelling up the North. Yeah, understand your frustrations. All right, thank you. What's a woman?
What's I love your impersonations,
Can a woman have a penis?
Yeah, he thinks so, yeah.
And that's the end of it. And that's not going to wash with people when the economy tanks.
Well, I don't think that's going to wash with the electorate in Makerfield as well. The fact that Annie Burnham does think that some women can have a penis and that trans women should be allowed into women's toilets and changing rooms. He's on record.
Are we really surprised? To be honest, though, all Everton fans are bloody deluded.
Yeah, he's an Everton fan. Yeah, but he's Manchester mayor. That's good. We got another dog joining us. This is good. That's
my one. Sorry.
That's okay, Adrian.
There was a Vox Pops doing the rounds.
Paddy, what do you make of all this malarkey happening here in this big by-election we have coming up?
I think you're looking at a lot of last gasps, and I think the main thing in the back of everybody's mind is how in the long run do we block reform? And because reform's eventually going to take control, but in the meantime, you got everybody, they're gasping at last straws to try to delay the inevitable as long as possible. And it's just sad to see. It's actually very entertaining. See, this is my sport. I love to watch political parties just self-destruct with friggin' nonsense. It's better than any football game. I don't care. This is real life because it affects everybody's lives too. Watching these people that are totally retarded that actually run our countries and they're total idiots. And it's and then the play of power. This is better than any football or soccer or whatever, American football or English football. So
yeah, it's a good enjoyment.
Make the point. I know we were talking about Angela Rayner and her R2D2 shoes last week. That's fine. That makes us laugh. Bit of a chuckle. But Andy Burnham wanted children to be put on puberty blockers.
Yep, disgusting.
Now, people, I'm sorry. I have very strong beliefs about this. And these people ought to be shunned out of exist. They should be made to shame to show their faces. And they pushed society into saying, we must tolerate this nonsense. They're abusing children.
Yeah, Paddy, I understand your frustrations.
You're king of the North.
Yeah, I'll show a frustration.
Yeah, but I mean, just to circle back on Restore, and I can respect Rupert Lowe and his candidate. She seems fine to me, sound enough. The thing is, though, that there's an element of FAFO about this because Restore are going to find out. Now, they might find out that they've got lots of support, which Rupert's suggesting, which would be really interesting to see, or they might find out they've got no support. Now, I don't know, and I'm not trying to swing it either way. I'm just saying that it's going to be interesting to find out, don't you think? This constituency voted 100% for reform 2 weeks ago. So do we think that a lot of those reform voters are going to go, yeah, well, we had to vote for them because that was the only choice. But now we've got Rupert's more hardline Restore. We're going to go for them. Is that what you Restore?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he has the right to stand, and so he should.
Of course.
But when it comes to important elections, does the choice not always become quite binary when people are in the booth and it's like everything becomes frivolous? There are only two people that you're really going to think about. It's either going to be reform or King of the North. And isn't that the same in American politics as well? The way it works. Go on.
Well, if I can throw in a wee bit of personal experience in this one, I've stood in several elections and lost, right? in parliamentary and assembly and council. I've stood at all levels, right? And one thing, I do mean this sincerely, that you can go around knocking on doors and people will tell you you are the best thing ever to your face. And then once you've gone down through their gate, they're going to vote for your arch rival. I've seen it happen too often. So I saw Rupert Lowe saying he can't believe the reception he's getting on the doorsteps of.
Do you not think it's a bit worse here, David? Because we're very, very tribal here. It's either themans or us'ns. You have to vote unionists so the Shinners don't get in, and if you're a Shinner, you have to vote for a Republican. You have to vote for Sinn Féin so the unionists don't get in. I don't think it's as bad as that on the mainland, is it?
To be honest, Adrian, I stood in what would be called pretty strongly unionist areas, but it's which type of unionism, and I was obviously the more, let's say, hardline type. So I didn't get a vote in what is a soft line unionist area, and it's just going to be interesting in Makerfield to see where these people. I mean, it seems to be. I don't know if has anyone actually been to it. Does anyone know it? It's sort of out just the perimeters of Manchester. I've never been.
I lived there for Manchester for years and years and years. I'd barely heard of it. I mean, I know Wigan and Lee, but
do you think the grooming?
Go on, Adrian. You make your point.
I was going to say, because it's in the north, do you think because a lot of those grooming gang scandals were in the north, do you think that might have an impact?
But I understand it's a relatively white area.
Yeah.
Bit of an aside here. Is anybody intrigued by this member of parliament that stood down to let King of the North come in? Does anybody think that's a little bit odd?
There's a few. There's multiple questions, Grantonio, on the background on possible explanations for why he decided so kindly to step down. Oh yeah. I'm not going into them, but I'm aware of at least 3 different reasons.
So it's not just me. It's not
just you. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'm sure it's because he's a very, very nice guy. And just my train of thought here, while we're on the subject of very weird things, I know it's your show, Uncle David, but can I just be a bit tangential? If I can just tan my genitals for a second. Just for a second?
Put them back.
This story that hit the news a couple of days ago about the reality TV show where married couples were getting raped. Am I the only person that thinks that's really weird? Does anybody have a theory as to what that's all about?
Excuse me? Say that again.
Have I got this? There was a reality TV show where the wives were accusing their husbands of raping them on screen.
But was this Married at First Sight? Is that the name of the program?
I don't know what the TV show is.
Yes.
I don't watch.
Yeah, that's it. That's been in the news today.
But Jed,
what's
do you
that
think
about?
that's a bit odd? Is it just me? What is that story all about?
Well, there's a program that's popular across about 30-odd countries, and it's called Married at First Sight. Actually, you don't see the bride or the groom until you stood at the altar, so to speak. And then you have to decide whether you're going to marry them or not. Now, clearly, that's classic TV, isn't it? It's real class, that. But
is that not a bit like an Islamic wedding, Jed? Sorry.
Well, except they're adults.
Is that not basically an Islamic wedding? You don't see your bride until they're married.
But the bottom line is, you see that that there's been rapes and there's been sexual assaults and stuff. So the whole show has now been canned, and there's investigations and all sorts now.
Yeah, it's a really weird one. As someone who avoids studiously all such TV crap, I'm only tangentially.
Sorry, those marriages aren't legally binding, but what kind of an idiot would do that? To try and sort of marry an absolute random stranger and think that you're going to be able to live happily ever after, without knowing anything about them.
Generation Z would.
I remember living in a house.
Hungry hers.
Adrian, I remember living in a many years ago, and I remember the landlord was a Pakistani, and there was a Pakistani guy living in one of the other rooms. I just remember overhearing the conversation with him where he was introduced. He said, "Oh yeah, I was introduced to my potential brides. I like that one. The other one was okay, and the other one, I think she might be my cousin." And oh, it was grim. It was really grim.
Yeah. Well, look, talking of grim things, Paddy, I'm going to jump to your side of the pond now because I want to talk about. I want to talk about Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie, who got himself Kentucky Fried Massie, as I call him. And Thomas Massie, I think, he was a nominal Republican, probably Trump's most trenchant critic. Certainly didn't vote for Trump in an awful lot of important votes. He's been running on a Tucker Carlson blame Israel for everything ticket, and he lost quite heavily, 55-45 the other night, Paddy. I was delighted to see it, to be quite honest, because there's been other things that have come out about him as well, which maybe we'll touch on. But I just wanted to get your reaction, Paddy, to Thomas Massie in Kentucky.
Well, Massie, Massie's a really sad case because Massie is basically a libertarian, which means they don't really they're just slightly shy of anarchists on a certain level, and but he started out as a pretty good solid vote, some good conservative values there, but he's definitely gone down the. I wouldn't even say that he hasn't gone down the Trump derangement syndrome. He's gone down the Ron Paul derangement syndrome, where he's just gone totally insane, and he just there's no way but his way is the right way, and he makes sleazy deals and votes with the other side. And like you said, he's the new Ron Paul, and more so than Ron Paul's son.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was also some strange information come out that I'm sure you saw from Laura, what's her name? Loomer. Yeah, about the fact that sadly he lost his wife. His wife died, I think, of cancer in June of 2025.
Yeah.
Or 24, and he was then having an affair within 3 months. He slept allegedly with Laura Boebert, another Congresswoman. This is strange behavior, very strange behavior.
It's insanity. It's insanity. Like I said, I don't play on the gossip mill side and everything else, but these people are just insane, and he is insane. You listen to him rant and try. Like I said, his rantings were good when he was focused and everything else, but he's become more and more extreme since he's been in office, and he has, like I said, he has gone down that Ron Paul loony route. And it's just it's good to see him go, and he's done, and he's totally reached where he hates Trump, but it's not Trump derangement. It's not just out of vehemence. He hates Trump because Trump doesn't listen to him.
Yeah, Uncle Paddy, is Massie one of these all roads lead to Israel people?
Yeah.
I
mean, in his speech,
yeah, he's not friendly towards Israel at all.
He's 100% on the Tucker Carlson wing. In his kind of, not his victory speech, but conceding defeat, Grantonio, he came up with the one line. I was going to play it, but again, for some reason, the clips haven't worked properly tonight. He said that he'd try to phone his opponent to congratulate him, but it was hard to get him because he was in Tel Aviv somewhere, which I don't think was true.
So that was like a bit of innuendo. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. So
he's just like, what do you call it? It's the Jew. It's everybody saying the Jew. He's part of that crowd where the Jews control what Trump's doing and everything else. Even though Trump just spent a half hour on the phone the other day screaming and hollering, him and Bibi screaming and hollering at each other. But nobody tells Trump what it's that whole crew. It's that whole insanity. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owen, the other kook, the school actor kook. Can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, there was a load of them. Adrian, doesn't this prove that the Republican Party is Donald Trump's party?
Yes, and it proves that all politicians are absolute egotists. To be honest, it's all about themselves. It's not actually about the was going to say the country or the state or the district that they're representing. It's all about them. You know, it's never actually about the people. But yeah, Trump is totally in charge of that GOP. Massie, he seemed pretty sensible a couple of years ago, but whether it's the death of his wife has just made him lose sight or sense of things, I don't know. But he does seem to be a totally different person over the last 18 months.
Really sleazy. I mean, some of the I see Northern Monkey talks about what's all this about Lauren Boebert and a pine cone. Yeah, we'll not overly go into that one, but Don says here he's creepy. But he hasn't done much for his state. I think what he's grifting actually. What I think is going to happen is
they're all grifting.
Well, they are, Paddy. They are. But I could see him now setting up the Thomas Massie podcast.
Oh no, he's running for president.
I saw that. No,
he's running for president. He couldn't hold his seat, but he's gonna run for. Ron Paul ran for president every election too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Adrian, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you not think it's strange that he has done a complete massive 180? Marjorie Taylor Greene's done a massive 180. Tucker Carlson, all these people have now went to the total extreme of hating Trump and everything that he says and does. When you consider 18 months ago, they were his biggest fans.
Is it because they think that's where the money is? Because, you know, I mean, Candace Owens, Tucker,
or maybe they've taken the money already.
Well, Tucker's take it. You got to question Tucker about his Qatar connections.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't get into people's finance, but he totally Tucker was the only one out of that whole group. Well, at one point, I really admired. He was very good at what he did, and I enjoyed the things he said. But like the man's gone. I don't know if he's been bought. I don't know if he had a stroke. I don't know if he's had somebody die. I don't know. But his mind is totally left the building. You know, and it's like, you know, and he just is total nonsense and anti-Jewish all of a sudden and everything else. It's just a trip. It's, you know.
Or maybe were they trying to be smart and thinking they were getting ahead of the wind because they could see that, you know, Trump
they're trying to blow the wind. They're trying to direct things there's this whole wing. This is the old George Bush wing of the party, where it's like where being a rhino was what you were supposed to be. You know, and that's it, you know, there's still a good third of the people that are holding office and that are in political power that are of that wing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, it is. Jed, have you been following this one, Kentucky?
To be honest, no, I haven't. So I'm just listening in to what everybody else has to say.
Yeah, I just when you're quiet for too long, I just want to make sure. Is that okay?
So good thing about Kentucky
I just listen to what everybody else had to say about him.
Yeah, the thing is that it's just been a fascinating one, this, because it goes back to Restore in Makerfield. Thomas Massie is very popular online. He's popular with people, you know, like Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and all of the big podcasters. And yet
they're not big podcasters. If you look at their audience,
I know, Paddy. I get it. Yeah, you're right.
If you look at their audience numbers, most of their followers are out of country. That's the thing. This whole thing, they did an audit. There's like there's so many. What do you got? Tucker is very big in Pakistan.
Yeah, well, you're right.
And other places like that. You know, these people have become pariahs. They're pariahs in the party and everything else. And it's like they're part of what we're trying to shake loose and get away from. And it is not Trump's party. Trump actually took control of the Tea Party, is what he did. Which the Tea Party was based on a whole bunch of people who want things to go back towards, more towards constitutional law, or at least the friggin' rule of law. And it's like, and Trump seized on that. And he is, like you said, and he is doing this. I'm sorry to disagree, but he is doing this for the people, because the man didn't need to do crap. He was a multi-billionaire. And all they've tried to do is lock him and everybody in his family up for 12 years. And he's still going at it. He sure as hell ain't doing this for his own pleasure.
Yeah, but yeah. There's an interesting comment. IRGC has been using Tucker for anti-American propaganda too. Well,
they've been airing it on the national TV.
Yeah.
When do you think we're going to be pulling the trigger, David?
You're not. I'm going to. I'm going to get stuck into you in that in a second, Patty. So brace yourself. But we've just gone past the witching hour 9 o'clock.
I can't wait for this.
We're going to keep going. But by the way, and this was quite good last week when we did this, because we're now doing this direct from the studio out onto all the different platforms, like Facebook, X, YouTube, and whatnot. If anybody actually wants to give me support for doing this, you can't do it anymore in the old way because Podbean stopped live streaming. But what you can do is you can buy me a coffee, and some of you have kindly done that. So I wanted to thank those of you who have done that. And if anyone would like to do that, if it's I'll take an Americano and a Survivor. So what can I say? If you can do that, there's a link you can click below the show chat. I think that they can, or over at davidvance.net, you can do that. And it's one way. And I wanted to thank the people that have done that, especially those who have come from X, which I appreciate as well. But wherever you're from, it could be an Irish coffee, Northern Monkey, by the way. I'd be very happy to have that. Right, Paddy, I have to now turn to you.
Don't forget to subscribe to David's Substack too.
Yes,
that's what you really want to do.
Yeah, Substack as well. Yeah, there's stuff goes out there every day. Sometimes what I do in Substack, by the way, I give a wee bit more detail below the numbers. Because I can do that in written format. It's not as boring, I think, as if I talk about it. So Substack's hopefully a good read for you anyway. Right, this Iran deal. It looks to me, having advocated from the first week in January to wipe them out, take the mullahs out, destroy them, turn them to rubble, atomize them, right? Make the IRGC history and give 90 million Iranians their freedom. No, it's not going to happen. What's going to happen, and I think it's in process now, so we'll probably get it in the news tomorrow, the day after. I think Trump's going to sell them out. There's going to be a crappy 30-day another ceasefire negotiated during or an X number of days ceasefire, another one of the endless ceasefires, at the end of which there'll be some accommodation between the US and Iran, which leaves the Tehran regime in place. Still strong, still with a level of control over the Strait of Hormuz, and still, as far as I know, having a level of control over their uranium. So I think it's a disgraceful sellout by Trump. I'm putting it out there. Paddy, I'm sure you disagree with me, so go ahead. Explain why I'm wrong.
Because you are. It's just that simple. But here's what's going on. All right, you turn around. Did you see? When's Trump going to attack? Who the hell knows? Only Trump knows that. Is there going to be attack? You get 150% guaranteed. All right, now let me explain. Let me go through the motions here. All right, in the last, like I said, why he's delaying, who the hell knows? I think he's playing games. I think a lot of pressure is coming from the Europeans, believe it or not. But the main thing is what's going on right now is he's giving them the ultimatum. Our deal's on the table. Well, the Ayatollah and the IRGC and everybody responded back today. They said they demand complete control of the Strait of Hormuz on both sides of the peninsula, and they're going to control that. They're going to the United States must withdraw all its military forces from neighboring countries, and they will under no circumstances turn over any uranium to the United States.
Yeah. And
so, they just sign their own death warrant because, that's unacceptable. There's number one, no one controls the straits. There's 11 choke points around the world. If we allow any country to control any one of those choke points just because they're next to it, it's the end of commerce and worldwide, and especially a lunatic country like Iran. Now, number two, there's no way we're leaving them with the drop of uranium. Period. Stop. End of story. They're going in and taking the research, the one out of the college that's there for research, and going in and going underground if they have to get the rest. This is not going to end the way he's given them all the rope they wanted to hang themselves. When he's going to attack, I can't tell you. Is he going to attack? I guarantee it 150%.
Well, hang on. The only hanging that's going on is the people that are being strung
Like
up.
Trump said yesterday, whether we do this where a few people die, or do we want to do this where a lot of people die?
Well, the Iranians want a lot of people to die. That's how desperate they are.
We don't.
But they do. And this is my big problem in this one. Trump's prepared to sell out 90 million pounds.
He's not selling out nobody. They reiterated we reiterated today our stance. Number one, the Strait of Hormuz will remain unfettered and open. Number two, the Iranians will not possess a single grain of uranium. And number three, the people get control of their own country. He stated in the third read, stated it again today, that the people will get control of their country, and we are going to help facilitate that. Now,
can't see how. Right, Adrian, I'll come to you in this one. You're a big Trump supporter, but I'm not happy about the Iran deal. What do you think?
I'm total agreement with Paddy on this one. So
I'm in a minority. Oh well.
Yeah. No, look. See, when you read Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, and you watch him and the things that he's done before, he tells you himself, he puts what he feels is a fair deal on the table. And if you don't take it, he comes back and he takes more, because he's giving you a fair chance. And if you say no, then he'll come back and he'll hit you 10 times as hard. Now, yeah, look, there are some things that he's done that's made me go, what? Jesus, what are you doing that for? But I'm not privy to everything. All I see is the outside. I don't hear all the noise that's on the inside. There's a lot of stuff, especially that uranium. Don't forget, it was Clinton and Obama that gave Iran the uranium through the Uranium One deal that went from Canada through the EU and all that kind of stuff. And I think all that's a major part of it, because he keeps talking about the dust, the uranium dust. So it'll have like a fingerprint that leads it back to uranium that came from the United States. Now, I know what you're saying about the thousands of people who were killed at the start of the year, and it's still going on.
Yep.
Unfortunately, though, it's not nice, but it happens, and that's part of the leverage that he needs the world to see, that these are a despotic regime. They don't care about people. They don't care about human rights. They don't care about anybody else. And there's, what they believe in. It's either they want this hardline Iranian regime, or it's nothing. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, people do die in these situations. We've seen it over the last few years. I find it very interesting that he's now sort of put this deal on the table just after his meeting with Xi in China. So we don't know what was said there. We don't know what was agreed there. But don't forget, the Chinese and the Russians have not come out and criticized anything that's went on in Iran.
No.
And no. They were two of the countries that were primarily supporting Iran through everything over the last 4 or 5 decades. They haven't said boo to anything.
Putin was just there.
I guess what I'm reflecting is the frustration of the many thousands of Iranians who follow me on platforms.
I get that.
Who feel honestly, they feel completely betrayed. Like that, just what they feel. Then that's legitimate.
But we're all being betrayed by politicians. In our own country and worldwide, we all are.
I agree, Adrian. I agree. Grantonio, you haven't spoken. Come on in.
I don't have much to say on it. Just questions to ask. Uncle David, has anything good come out of this, in your opinion? Again, that's not a rhetorical question. It's a genuine question.
No, only bad. The IRCG is now more powerful than it was at the start of this.
Right, so the likes of Uncle Adrian and I at the start of this were very cautious. That's what we were advocating. Caution on this. Perhaps it wasn't worth.
You were. That's right. No, it was worth bombing them to hell and back, but we stopped.
I suppose that's one good thing, is some of them are dead.
That's the good thing. Yeah, the Ayatollah is dead, and he's got a cardboard son. But I mean, that's about as far as it goes. They are a lot of the infrastructure was.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Was it recycled cardboard? They were going very green and all this kind of stuff.
No, we gotta hope so. Please, we've got unstoppable climate change. Which is apparently going to melt down the UK. We might be able to do this one next week, by the way, because
it's been nice knowing you guys.
This could be the last one, Antonio.
So what we need is actually the last one. We need the sort of Arabian countries. We need the neighbours to be putting massive pressure on Iran. You know, because they're the ones
Yeah.
in the region. You know, it can't be America that has to be the world's policeman. The
I
Middle
totally
Eastern
agree.
countries have to play their part too. So Qatar, UAE, all those countries really need to be hammering Iran too. Saying
Yes,
like
and
we
totally right, Adrian. And I think that they blow hot and cold on it. One minute the UAE is going to go in and those Persian Gulf countries are going to attack Iran, and then not much happens. So
Iran just hit a UAE nuclear reactor with one of its bombardments.
I know, Paddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, the UAE, as now, they don't want you to say this, but I'll say it anyway. Dubai, for example, I mean, it's crippled at the moment, right? Tourism is dead, all but dead in Dubai and the UAE in general, over in Abu Dhabi as well, because of this. And Iran has learned a couple of things. They don't have to attack Israel or America. They just have to attack those oil-rich Persian Gulf Arab countries. And all of a sudden the pressure goes on Trump. So Adrian and Paddy, like, it's not that I'm not unsympathetic towards Trump, because I am a Trump supporter, obviously, but I just find this one to be just so complex. And actually, talking of oil, I just wanted to move it on a little bit. There was a really Kemi Baden annoys me, the Conservative leader, but she made a good point yesterday in the comments. What did you think of this? When she said to Stormer, who announced at 1 minute to midnight on Tuesday night, that the UK is actually going to lift some sanctions on Russian oil. They're going to grant licenses for Russian oil to be imported into the UK because, truth be told, if we don't get that, we run out of aviation fuel this summer. That's the truth of it. And Kemi stood up and said, so why do you accept Russian oil but not oil from off Aberdeen in the North Sea? And it's a bloody good question. Jed, what do you think of that one? Where, you know, this British government will take, as she put it, filthy Russian oil. Now, I wouldn't use that term, but her words, but not oil from the North Sea.
Because, you see, this is it. That's a dilemma, isn't it? And she's absolutely right. I wouldn't call it filthy Russian oil. It's just oil. And the bottom line is whether we buy it from Russia or in fact, buying it from a third country means it's going to cost us more because they've bought it off Russia. They've then processed it. Then they're going to put their markup and then we're going to buy it. So it's going to cost us more. But the point is we have our own. And this is I can't think of the word to use, but I can't understand how they can't.
Suicide?
It's like the computer says no, isn't it?
Well, I said Miliband says no.
But yeah, but it is. But the computer is saying no. We can't have our own, but it's okay. We're going to buy that one.
Yeah,
and that's the point. And this is why the whole net zero thing is a farce, because we're not doing anything differently other than putting up our own bills, stopping our own production of energy, and then buying it from somebody else at twice the price.
Well, actually, Jed, in the North Sea, I think isn't it Norway have got oil fields adjacent to British oil fields, and we could drill those British oil fields, which are in the same geological strata, and we don't. And instead, we buy it from Norway at their price.
Yeah, which it doesn't compute. It is one of those, isn't it? The computer says no.
Well, I mean,
and I just can't understand how we've got our own resources, but we're saying we cannot use it, but we'll buy it off everybody else and buy it off Norway that's tapping into the field that we're tapped into.
That's right. It's the same field. It's absolutely the same field. Grantonio, what do you reckon of the fact that Labour will buy Russian oil, who they keep telling us that they're sanctioning harder than ever, and what Chet says, we won't drill our own oil? Like,
no, well, yeah, I don't know about them buying the Russian oil. I've missed that one. But I mean, the whole eco zealotry is just hypocrisy anyway. I was on the motorway, and it was what do you call it? It was I don't know how many vans, the lorries pulling. What do you call it? Where they stop the traffic to let a big thing through. What's that called? Anyway,
a convoy.
A convoy.
Well, yeah,
which
yeah,
is also,
Chad, give us a song.
it's also,
I'm
by
not
the
going to
way,
do that, Rubber Duck.
the worst,
I knew you know it.
the
Sorry,
worst
Breaker,
film
breaker.
ever made. They made a film out of the song Convoy, and I understand it's Ali McGraw and Chris Christopherson.
And you were one of those 11 friends of Jesus in that VW microbus, weren't you?
That's the one. That's the one. Worst
Right.
film ever made. Can I recommend that you don't watch it? But no, I
Right,
saw a convoy.
Back on top.
It was a convoy for one of those fans. It really, literally was an only fan. They are giant, those fans, and it was on the back of one of these super lorries, and they basically blocked the motorway to get one, transporting it from wherever to wherever to get it up in the sky so that it could be completely ineffectual. And they're very, you can just see it was like rubbery and just you could see. But yeah, the amount of money it costs to make these things, the amount of money it costs to put them up, to dispose of them when they don't work. I reckon some of them, these windmills, as Donald Trump calls them, I reckon some of them get wind damage and they break that way. The whole eco thing is just so hypocritical from beginning to end.
Adrian, what do you make of this? Buying Russian oil but not drilling our own oil, and yet we need it.
Do you know what? I haven't rated Kemi Badenoch at all, but over the last couple of weeks, she's actually went up a level or two, in my opinion.
She has, yeah.
She really has, bringing like Keir Starmer and different ones to task. But again, it just shows the complete lunacy of this government and previous governments, that we have had that North Sea oil, and we were drilling for it all through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and then we stopped. And now we're going to make other countries rich when we are absolutely struggling ourselves. And this is a prime resource for us that we could be doing to help increase our GDP, help get numbers up, get people in employment. Aberdeen was a thriving town back in the day because of all the oil that was going through it and the money that it was bringing through the town with the workers and all that. And yet here we are now going to pay Mr. Badman Putin a fortune. When considering 2-3 years ago, they were wanting to go and bomb the living shit out of him because of Ukraine. It just shows the absolute lunatics that run this country. And we need people who have a business brain like Trump. Somebody like that who will come in and not fall for this bloody nonsense and just go, right, we're here to make money. This is the only way the country is going to be successful. You want to bring all these uninvited guests in and give them free this, that, and the other. Well, then who's paying for it? It's us. Why is that resource not paying for it?
Well, this is a big ideological divide between us here in the UK and Paddy, you guys. I mean, Trump has absolutely got this one right. The US is absolutely rock and rolling when it comes to energy, you're self-dependent and independent.
But you've got a whole entire party that is totally against it. If the Democrats regain control again of the reins of power, the first thing you're going to shut off is the oil and natural gas development in this country.
Uncle Paddy, are the Democrats going to do well in the midterms?
No, they're going to fail flat on their face.
Why do you say that? And I only ask because everybody else is telling me that this is the end of Trump.
Oh yeah, this is it. This is doomed. This is over. He could never win. It's never going to happen, and everything else. And I'm just they've got nothing to. They can't run on anything except Trump sucks, and that's all they have. And everybody's pissed off enough in the country because we're at war, and the way they're acting, even this war has more support in this country than the world realizes, because the people understand what's going on here. But the mainstream media and the complete Democrat Party controls the narrative on so many things, and it's like I think you're going to see a major, not a major, but they're not going to gain control. They're going to lose in the midterms.
That'd be interesting. It'll be the first midterms in some time that the incumbent party doesn't lose.
I think it happened during Obama because we, oh no, they did. No, I mean, it did happen within the last 10 or 12 years. It did happen, not that, let's say 20 years. It did happen recently, but it's very rare. It's guaranteed. If you won the presidency, the next election goes automatically to the opposite team.
Do you not think, though, with the voter rolls being cleaned up over the last couple of years, the amount of cheating will go down, so the Democrats won't necessarily?
In the areas where the cleaning up the voter rolls matter, they're not still fully clean, and it's still, there's the control of the vote is still very, very touchy in the United States. On legitimacy of the vote is very is not assured.
I think that's the problem for me. The US has got so much going for it under Trump, but Paddy, at the heart of it, there's some fundamental issues with your system. But I mean, at the end of the day, what I want is President Rubio in 2028.
So far, he looks like he's got it.
He's so much better than JD. I'm so disappointed in JD Vance. Absolutely too weak on too many topics. But Rubio's been absolutely revelation. I think how he's really fitted into that role as Secretary of State, hasn't he?
Did anybody see Rubio going to China dressed in the exact same outfit that Maduro was dressed in when he was arrested?
I did. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Did you see it, Paddy?
No. But there's so many shots of Rubio wearing so many different things. I just reposted one of him.
This was a Nike tracksuit,
one of the Castro brothers.
Yeah.
This was a Nike tracksuit. It wasn't a suit being very diplomatic. He was taking the mick completely.
Yeah. He's playing Zelensky.
He was dressed as essentially Maduro on the flight to China.
There you go.
So it's a bit like, I think, is there not a warrant out to arrest Raul Castro, Paddy?
Yeah, we just put for giving the order for blowing up 2 aid planes back in '96. He gave the order for these civilian planes to be shot out of the air.
Do you think it's possible that they could actually arrest Castro?
Oh, they won't arrest him. It's just to apply pressure. Right now, Cuba's in the middle of a major collapse. See, we're dealing with Iran on one side of the world. We got Cuba is totally collapsed next to us because they got all their oil for free from during that, and that got shut off.
Yeah,
we shut that off. So they're completely in a thing. We've turned around, and right now they're arguing over the fact we want to give them $100 million worth of food and aid, but we'll only let the Catholic Church distribute it. And they're like, all right, because we don't want the government to handle any touch a dime of it. See, Gals, which is the Cuban military, own a piece of every business in the country, and it's the Castro, and it's just this whole thing. So the pressures we put on, but we got a collapsed nation next to us that we're trying to revamp back into.
Is that Canada?
No, well, Canada's gone, but Canada's hanging itself. Canada's got so much internal. The nice thing about Canada is they don't have enough people to matter.
Alberta seems to be trying to break away, though. Have you seen that, Paddy?
One part of Canada or the other is always trying to break away. It's just that's Canadian politics.
Yeah, I think you're. I mean, I know a couple of the Albertan separatists, Adrian, and they want to be as detached from Canada as possible, if even maybe incorporate into the United States. But I don't think it'll happen. Unfortunately, Canada's got Carney, just like we've got, Starmer, just like Australia's got Albanese, just like France has got Macron, all these globalists, and the exception, to be quite honest, the only exception is Trump, which is why ultimately I can criticize him, but, still stand with him because he's the great white hope, dare I say.
As I said, like some of the things that he said and done lately have made me go, what? But again, look, this man will know more than we will ever know. He has all the inside track from all his intelligence agencies. We don't know what's being said in some of their meetings. There'll be some stuff that's just put out to the news and the public to make us think, oh, right, he's capitulating. And the reality is we do not know what is said in those walls, in those meeting rooms.
But I do want to say though, one thing refreshing about Trump, and I question a lot of stuff he says too. Man, the man's a loose cannon. But the thing is like Trump has been the most informative president we've had in 20 years. He talks to the press. You ask him a question, he gives you an answer. You may not like his answer, and he may call you stupid, but you're gonna get an answer.
Well, you just compare him to Biden. Compare Trump and because I think Trump's now of the same age as Biden was. Adrian.
Sorry, a friend said this about me many years ago. He said, "At least with you see the knife coming." And I got a wee bit offended by that, but it took me a while to understand what he meant. And Trump's like that. He'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And that's the difference with him. And we're so used to politicians trying to gaslight us, blow sunshine up our backsides and whatnot, that sometimes when you hear the truth, it's hard to accept. And people can't handle it.
You can't handle the truth. Well, I'll tell you, here's a truth we're all going to have to handle. It's just come up to 9:30 UK time, which means that we are all out of road for tonight.
I understand your frustrations.
Yeah, you got to trademark that one now because you've got
perfect.
Basically, Antonio, you're working to up a spectrum of Labour leaders or wannabe leaders. So you'll have a career ahead of you if Stormer does.
Nothing beats your Angela Rayner, David.
Not getting into Angela Rayner this week. I talked enough about her last week. I'm staying well away from Angela. But listen, folks, thanks very much on all the different platforms for tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed the banter. It was good fun at this end, so I hope you enjoyed it too. Remember, if you want to support me, buy me a coffee, please. Link below. Yes, Northern Monkey references Angela Rayner calling Boris Johnson scum, according to Rachel Reeves. That was super duper fine. But whenever White Van Man says a few home truths about Labour, then he's the worst in the world. Hypocrisy, it lies at the heart of politics, my friends. Anyway, thank you all for being here tonight. But from Jed, Grantonio, Adrian, Paddy, and myself, wish you all a great night, and hope I catch up with me tomorrow on all the other usual platforms. That's it from us for tonight. Good night.